Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic veteran. Let's get up. I'm here with none other than a beautiful, lovely, sometimes she's been known to make me a sandwich, wife of mine, light of my life, Yanzi Lynn.
Hi.
Today, I unfortunately am here to talk to you about the American comic book industry reacting to Roe versus Wade being overturned. Here we go. So this is to me, this is sad news, mainly because I like comics to be about fun, escapism, and when I go to comic book news, I just want to hear the debate: can Wolverine's adamantium claws cut through a vibranium Captain America shield? That's the type of thing that interests me in comics. This isn't. So before we get into it, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications as we talk about the American comic book industry as it shakes to its core. We have Scholastic's editor calls for YA books and graphic novel pitches on abortion. I'm not even making this up. So now YA books, you're going to say, well, what's a YA book? I hear everything in category. That could be anything from Dogman to more geared towards teens. But it is a broad category, meaning like it could be very young readers. And keep in mind, in the end, these things end up on the library shelf, period. And it's a comic book. Now, comic books to me have always been more like fun, beat 'em up, superhero adventures, things that stretch the imagination, not educational pamphlets or propaganda. So that's where we stand on this issue is why are comics the victim of these sort of things? So what do we have here from Scholastic, which is one of the biggest comic book publishers? Correct? Am I wrong?
It's not one, it is the biggest publisher of comic books in USA. So Emily here, which is the senior editor at Scholastic Press, has decided, she tweeted this out and said, I'll mention now that my colleagues and I absolutely do want your YA books with or about abortions. There aren't enough of them, and these stories need to be told and normalized, and that's not going to change. So, wow, she's just outright calling and say, all right, because this thing happened in the news, I want all these pictures. Step pronto. It sounds almost like let's capitalize on this because it's a hot button issue and let's make some money off it straight away. Quick. Let's grab all these books for parents who want to be, I guess, new age progressive, want to let their kids know about things like abortions, the 200 million genders available and everything.
Which is super dark if a parent's going to buy their kid a book. Okay, keep in mind, kids really don't have their own money. The parents, usually when you're trying to sell a book to a child, you actually have to get the parent's approval. So let's pretend the parent approves of the purchase of said book. What are they saying to the kid? I almost decided not to have you. Like, I mean, what is this? Like, it's really weird. Now, of course, teens read YA too. Ideally, they should be reading Marvel and DC stuff at that age. So this is a weird topic, or manga. I don't understand what age demographic this is really going to be shot towards. And what worries me about this, and I mean, Yanzi, you have more degrees in education and psychology than me, but the thing that bothers me about this is it possible a kid would be reading, hypothetically, a book on abortion, but they don't even understand sex?
It is quite possible because when you talk about YA, you talk about books like Dogman and all that, that's geared from like 5-6 years old onwards. And you want to say YA runs is basically 12 to 18, but at the same time, Dogman is classified as YA. So when she's soliciting for these titles, all I can think was maybe like an 8 or 9-year-old being handed one of these books by their parents, and they're like, "Mommy, what's abortion?" Well, it's when I almost didn't have you.
Yeah, well, here's the thing too. I mean, with children, illustrated books, they're gonna reach for before a normal book anyways, right? This is the thing. When I grew up, like, not trying to put an age on me, but comic books were kind of looked at by teachers and stuff as not real books to read, and kind of shamed you would get your comic books taken away from you if you snuck them into school. Now everybody's trying to get them into the school system, but actually fill them with propaganda and right think. To me, this is like the world's upside down. Keep in mind, I've worked in the comic book industry for 20 some years, making my own comic now, or my own comic books, plural. And one of them is an all ages book. So I find this type of stuff, Starlight Cats, I find this type of stuff disgusting and upside down. I'm not sure, like, when you make a YA book, you have to actually understand the age demographic you're making the book to, and you actually have to be very cautious about the material you're putting in it. Like, is an antagonist too scary? What's the overall resolution to the story? What lessons are learned? because you are presenting this entertainment to a child, and a lot of times morals and things like that need to come from these books.
So you want to normalize abortion talk in comic books. You want children to be able to talk about it, right? But I think a lot of people are missing a point. And abortion is not something to be celebrated. Generally, it's considered a tragedy of some sort, a very personalized tragedy. You lose a child that you're going to have. Now, it could be a tragedy because of rape or incest or something like that. So my point is that an abortion is not something they can tackle lightly and say, you want it to be told and normalized to children everywhere. It's okay. It's like, okay, we know there are drugs everywhere. You want it to be told and normalized to children too. Is that how it works?
And while you bring that up, there was the DARE program in the 80s, 90s, and maybe to this day. And they thought they were educating children against drugs by showing them and identifying all the drugs. But the reality is, years later, is it turned out they were educating kids about drugs, period. Like, not against them, but educating them like about all the different types of drugs. So there is a cause and effect to this type of stuff. You can't just introduce something like this into an environment and not expect there to be some type of change. And that's actually what they want. They actually do want to change. They want to plant seeds for a different type of citizen or something like 10 years down the road. This is to plant an idea in heads and let it grow and germinate. But anyways, let's go forward. What else do we have?
Well, we do have, of course, everyone's favorite, Heather Ontos, has to inject her piece. Now, we're not saying that you're not allowed to have your own political opinions. You are allowed to, but at the same time, maybe if you are doing so at the expense of your own job, yeah, I mean, Heather Ontos embraces IDW Publishing with poor editing job on Star Trek The Mirror War. So there's, I don't need to tell you guys what's happening, but basically a bunch of typos, continuity errors, blah, blah, blah. But she definitely has time to spend literally the whole day on Twitter talking about all these Roe versus Wade stuff. She starts with, they want us dead. No. So just very quickly, fact check. Roe versus Wade is just it's not being enforced on the federal level anymore. It's not being enforced on the state versus state level. You guys can, each state has different rulings on it, I guess. So I don't know how that translates to people wanting women dead, I guess. Maybe. All right, look, some people say I'm privileged to say this, but the point is that they are not trying to kill all women, as the Heather is trying to say. All right. And she says, this is only the beginning. And that's what I'm most afraid of. I give it 5, maybe 10 years, and she puts a gift of The Handmaid's Tale. So, all right, we're going to have forced pregnancy and all that stuff now. Goes on to say, abort the Supreme Court. So, see, they would love to say, get rid of the Supreme Court when it's a decision they don't like. But let's imagine if the Supreme Court actually said something, okay, you know what, all guns are illegal. Now they'd be like, oh boy, I love the Supreme Court. So people are just political lemmings, I guess.
Well, they were all for telling people what to do with their bodies when it came to the vaccine.
Oh, right.
Like, this is how it works. But when like somebody comes in and says, well, it's up to the state to decide what you can do with, abortion, then no, it doesn't suit. Like, and that's the thing about, I don't know, I hate to say get political here, which I'm not, but about just like laws is they can work for you or against you depending on the situation, and that's just the way the world works. But anyways.
Heather continues to say, burn it all down. So, Heather, the easiest way to burn it all down is for you to just burn your American passport and your citizenship paperwork and move to another country. Yeah,
I'm confused. Isn't this how? Like, is that GIF burn it all down? Is she talking about the system, or is she talking about the American comic book industry? Because I mean, what is she wanting to burn down?
Well, it could be a call to violence. So if you look at it, basically, when she says burn it all down, so. Yeah, let's hope nobody picks up the arms and goes to anything.
And right, what is her position again at IDW? I mean, I know she's an editor, but is she like
senior editor? So it was downgraded from editor in chief, and now she says snip motherfuckers. So yep, everyone get vasectomies because apparently pregnancy is a one-way street. Only men can get women pregnant. Women don't somehow take part in the ritual to get pregnant.
Yeah, it is a nice ritual though.
Oh. Yeah, you got to get out of it. Yeah.
But
yeah, so we have Heather Ontos here basically spending, you can see she's been tweeting from, okay, look, this was like what, 10 hours ago, and this was something that picked up at 4 o'clock. So how long has she been tweeting about this? The whole day, basically. Almost. She should be doing her work. And
almost a whole
work day. A whole work day. And what happens? IDW Publishing is pretty much maybe that's why they won't pay for her laptop. They know that she is using it to tweet and stuff.
Yeah, she had a GoFundMe for her computer catching fire, which is probably working on Twitter overtime, not this. IDW Publishing swing to loss in quarter. So obviously they're losing money, a lot of money, right?
Well, if your editors are spending all their time tweeting and stuff, editing books, why not?
And this is the thing, like, you're going to say, well, pay them less, maybe they'll leave. No, they're actually going to come in droves, because a lot of times when people aren't being paid to do a job, their payment is, can I push my agenda? Can I get some type of spiritual payment? You know, I don't know how else to phrase that, but they're looking to invoke something, insert themselves into something. And they're basically looking to feed their own ego. You know, you would think she would go away from being downgraded in a position, but no, she's actually digging her feet in, digging her heels in on this, on the industry. And like whatever company, like, I mean, it says a lot that they're losing money. But it also says a lot that they hired Heather Antos after Valiant like went under. She has a record where people can find her books having typos, and you can actually see during the workday she's on Twitter. This is just like ridiculous. But this is the American comic book industry, and it's actually reacting to political things that are happening, which at a record speed. Now, Marvel Comics historically put out, like I said before, like a one-shot in tribute for victims of 9/11 in like, I think under 3 weeks or something like that. The American comic book industry can react to anything happening outside your window as far as a product being sold or made and sold in a breakneck speed. That doesn't mean they should. Honestly, there are some things I think the American comic book industry needs to not touch. I think the American comic book industry should be more focused about being entertainment, escapism from things happening outside your window. I mean, that's what made the American comic book industry something that, you know, caught eyes. It was spectacular events, colorful characters, doing things that are absolutely impossible for the common day man. And for some reason, no, they have to be about like what people should think. SJW like update to your Windows update or something. I have no idea what the American comic book industry is supposed to be to these people. But to me, it's always a form of escapism and fun. And on that note, I have to bring up Inglorious Rex is marching its way to $268,000. We're one or two backers away from that. Guys, please go over and check this out. We are making comic books that you get in the mail. We do have a YA book, Starlight Cats, attached to this campaign. If you go down and look at it in the add-on, you will find it. Little Girl, Big Adventure, Cats in Space. And I will leave you guys with a trailer for this campaign, Inglorious Rex.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters, so now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the game. Can't control me.